This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hello, 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 hello. I said wello, hello. Well, I'm rhyming already. I'm off to a great start. Hi, everybody. It is the After Party Live on a Travel Tuesday, and thanks for hanging out. Thank you for waiting and being patient. I appreciate that. We are traveling today to a place I think most of us will never get to in this lifetime. I think maybe it's a little unsafe. So to see the pictures and to check out the place in this way, I feel like is a much better option. And you still get the gist of the place a little bit. You get a little flavor of it, maybe without having to put ourselves through stress, pressure, and danger. I don't know. Well, that's coming up in just a minute. But first, and originally, I think Belinda was going to do this story on the Mark Thompson show, but I have this story about marmots. And there's a new Only Fans channel dedicated to marmots. So we'll talk about that. Looking at the chat and seeing everybody and the wonderful conversations. Love it. It looks like there's summer camping trips going on. As a matter of fact, Glenn might join us live again if he can find some wallabies or kangaroos there, because I mean, honestly, I'll just take Glenn live, but the wallabies and the kangaroos are an extra added bonus. Wallabies on Oahu, says Sandy. I never knew that. I saw a story about an escaped kangaroo that is, I think it's still on the run. And I'm going to see where that story, I wasn't going to do the story, but it is, this kangaroo that's been on the loose for several days in Missouri, and they keep seeing it all over the place. It's been sighted. The kangaroo was spooked by an excavator and made it out of its enclosure in Missouri. There's a FedEx driver that's seen it. Other residents have seen it, but it still remains on the run. They've used a thermal drone to try to track this kangaroo down. The only picture they post of it is it asleep, and so it looks kind of like dead, but it's not. It's totally okay. It's just jumping all over the place. What I don't understand is why these people in Minnesota have a kangaroo as a pet. I don't know. Yeah, someone just has it on their property. People. Crazy people. All right, well, let's jump into the stories that I was planning to talk about today, and that includes this one about marmots. You know anything about marmots? I guess we're going to learn a whole lot about marmots because they need a little love, and they're getting it on OnlyFans. And there is a marmot. If you didn't know what a marmot looked like, I would say it kind of looks like I don't know, like a giant squirrel, but with a shorter tail, and he's a little fatter. Yeah. Researchers that are involved in marmot research are trying to raise money with this new page. It's called Only Marms, and they have it on OnlyFans. For some reason, I was under the impression that OnlyFans was only for like sexy time things. I didn't know there could be other channels that weren't related to that. Researchers studying marmots in Colorado are trying to make up for the fact that federal funding has been pulled. So, you know who took away the funding, and now they're on OnlyFans trying to recoup what they lost. Professor in the Department of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology at UCLA his name is Daniel Blumstein, and he's also the head of a Colorado marmot research program that has been ongoing since 1962, but because of funding cuts and the loss of research grants canceled last year by he who shall not be named on this show, Professor Blumstein and his team at the Rocky Mountain Biological Laboratory have put up this OnlyFans page called Only Marms, and where if you go to it, you will see daily photos and videos of wild marmots, and then you can leave a tip to help support the ongoing research there. They say this is going to be G-rated. We're not going to sexualize this one. We're just going to have fun with sharing the pictures of the marmots. The page promises unfiltered yellow bellied marmot content from the Rockies. It was created and it is being maintained by a first year master's student who's been working with this program for 3 years now. She says, sometimes I'm just posting videos I think will get the most ahs, but my favorite is when I find footage of a particular behavior and then I can use that to educate people. They say, listen, they know that this is an unconventional means of raising money for research funding. But what they say is they don't know if they agree with the idea that scientists shouldn't have to be opportunistic and creative, because that really is what a lot of science research is. She says this is a woman who's creating and maintaining the website. It can be intimidating to engage with the public like this, but why are we doing this work if not to help forward humanity with it? Can you imagine that meeting where they sat around and they're like, okay, here's how much funding we've lost. Here's how much we need to make up ideas. And someone comes up with the Only Fans Marmot page. I mean, it probably was like a joke at the time, but that they actually are doing it. I don't know. I hope they raise this money. They have some other ideas. They have Marmot Tears IPA, beer brewed by Irwin Brewing Company in Crested Butte. They have an upcoming Fat Marmot Week in August, kind of like the Fat Bear Week, right? In Alaska, the Katmai National Fat Bear Week. Now they're doing the Fat Marmot Week. So they've got the IPA beer, they've got the Fat Marmot Week, they've got the Only Marmot site, and they're pursuing traditional funding sources as well. So let's hope their Marmot program continues. Creative ideas. I guess in this day and age, you've got to go for it. I have an update on Jackie, the eagle who was injured in Big Bear by what they say is a sub-adult eagle. And Jackie pretty badly hurt. For a while they didn't know if it was Jackie. Now they're pretty sure that it's Jackie. And they say she's a little more feisty now during her feedings. So a little more active, a little more aggressively eating, but still in critical condition. The sub-adult eagle that may have injured her has been spotted near her habitat in Big Bear Lake. So they say she's in stable but critical condition. This is at the Ojai Raptor Center. She's getting around-the-clock treatment. They're still working to figure out exactly what's wrong with her. They did a blood transfusion, and that seemed to be helpful, but then her blood values declined. And so they're not sure. They said since that second test where it showed some blood value issues, she's improved again. She's eating on her own. Her energy and her alertness have noticeably improved. They say she's becoming much more feisty during feedings. So she's had an encouraging blood test measuring the percentage of red blood cells in her bloodstream. It was 8% before July 25th, and now it's 16% as of yesterday. The numbers they say are still below normal, but it's an encouraging improvement. But wildlife veterinarians there still don't have a definitive diagnosis for her. They say cases like Jackie's can be really complicated. So they're going to adjust her treatment as they get new information based on the test. And the Friends of Big Bear Valley is monitoring this sub-adult eagle that likely did the battle with Jackie that ended with her hospitalized. There's an eagle expert that says this male eagle is about 3.5 years old. They don't reach full maturity until age 5. And they think it's too early for this sub-adult eagle to be looking for a mate or a place to nest, so they're not sure why, but they do say Shadow, who's Jackie's real mate, showed defensive behavior against this sub-adult eagle for several days, while the eaglets this year, Sandy and Luna, were in the nest. So they also say that Sandy and Luna's vocals may have been heard in the area, but they haven't been seen on camera since July 23rd. So things are kind of up in the air on the live cam at the Friends of Big Bear Valley. And let's hope Jackie recovers. Just wanted to give you that update. We'll move forward to this guy who was adrift on the ocean for more than a month. His mast broke on his sailboat, and he did all the survival things that people do. There's the broken mast, adrift at sea. His name is Kai, which actually means ocean, right? In Hawaiian. Kai Sato. In order to survive this month-long stranding at sea, he used PVC pipes and kayak paddles to try to repair his boat. He collected condensation in a plastic bag to have some type of water to drink. I mean, this was serious business. Kai's from California, but he was adrift in his sailboat off the coast of Hawaii. He's 39. He had set sail from the Catalina Islands, hoping to complete his first solo sail across the Pacific Ocean. But along the way, the mast on his sailboat snapped, and the phone that he was using to navigate croaked. He said, "I cried for a whole week, just drifting south. It was miserable." He said, "I felt like I was just going to try to turn my motor on and suffocate." He felt hopeless. He said he initially tried to motor back to shore, but then he ran out of gas. He said he was a sitting duck, just getting taken south by the current, going way off course. And after several days, he began to try to mess with the sails and used PVC pipes and kayak paddles to try to repair the boat. But after 20 days adrift, he said he ran out of drinking water. And that's when he started using a plastic bag to create some condensation that he could drink. He said, "I was licking that to survive." He ate mainly oatmeal and fish and squid that landed on his boat. Took him a month to reach the shipping lane between California and Hawaii. And finally, his boat was spotted and he was rescued by a crew on a passing ship. The Seafarers International Union put out a statement last week. They said on July 21st, watchstanders aboard the MV George III spotted a small sailboat in distress. All hands were called to assist in the recovery of solo sailor Kaichi Sato aboard his demasted 32-foot-long sailboat about 900 miles from Hawaii. The crew helped prepare the engines for immediate maneuvering, rigged the ship's pilot ladder, and prepared life rings and messenger lines and throwing appliances to assist in his recovery. And once they were close enough to his boat, they shot a line throwing device across it. He pulled the attached messenger line and made it fast to his boat's stern, and so then they towed him the stern to pilot ladder, and he was able to step off and climb aboard the George III. The rescue took about an hour and a half. He expressed his thanks and gratitude to the entire crew for saving his life. Now he's staying with a relative in Hawaii, and miraculously, Kai is already planning another sail. This time he wants to go to the Philippines and he wants to do it in a larger boat. I don't know, after 30 days adrift at sea where you're thinking you're not going to make it. I mean, I'm all for resilience of spirit, but maybe take a break, dude. Take a little break. And also plan better. I think if you do these things, it has to be, you have to tell people where you're going to be. You have to have a list of people monitoring your progress on GPS satellite, right? So that if anything goes wrong, they see, oh, Kai's not where he's supposed to be. Let's call for help. You have to have better navigation equipment, maybe not just your phone. I don't think he was really prepared. I mean, it's nice that he survived. He was prepared enough for that. But I think, yeah, you need some better gear. No, because that's really, really scary. Did you hear about this Qantas plane? It now has set a record for the longest flight. And I don't think this is the only time that they will be doing it. Here's the Qantas airplane. Flew for more than 24 hours, broke some records. It's an A350, 24 hours, 24 minutes. That's how long it was in flight. It left Melbourne. Airplanes direct London service, which is I don't know if that don't they usually have to stop? Didn't stop this time. Nope. This Qantas plane is believed to be the longest ever commercial flight. It went from Melbourne, Australia to France, triggering a surge in online tracking in the airline's Project Sunrise, in which they plan to use a new A350 jet to fly nonstop from Australia to London. They're going to debut the service with the carrier's nonstop Sydney to London route. And they've been doing a test campaign for the last 2 months to make sure everything is okay with all of this. The aircraft has an extra fuel tank, and it stayed in the air for 24 hours, 24 minutes, covering 14,338 miles in a route over the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans without stopping. They landed at the plane's factory in southwest France. And again, thought to be the longest flight ever by a commercial airplane. The previous record was 22 hours, 42 minutes between Hong Kong and London. In a test last week, the plane flew from France to Melbourne via the Indian Ocean in just over 19 hours. Maybe that's the better route. So, Qantas is ordering 12 modified A350 aircraft designed to connect Australia's east coast with London and New York within 20 hours. They say the service aims to turn what was a 5-day journey at one point on the Kangaroo route to London into a single flight lasting 19 to 21 hours, depending on routing and winds. The first aircraft carries 20,000 liters of fuel and can seat 238 passengers, is due for delivery on April 27th. They expect their nonstop flights between Sydney and London to start in October of 2027. What bothers me about this is the 238 passengers. The I think they should cut that number, charge more for this direct flight, and make sure that everyone has one of those lay down pods. You know how on certain flights, they kind of have a little private seat where you can relax and recline. Because if you're up in the air for 20 hours, you need to be able to recline your seat where you're not going to bump into the person behind you or cause anyone else to be uncomfortable. And you need to be able to sleep. So hopefully they have it set up for sleeping. But it really could change travel from Australia. There you go, Glenn. So you can whip back and forth from New York and London. You jet setter, you. Here's a interesting story. My husband actually sent me this one. And this is about robots. He says we're doomed. We're doomed. Oh no. Figure AI's next gen humanoid, it's called Figure 03, has arrived at the BMW Group plant in Spartanburg, and it's taking over from Figure 02, which had helped build more than 30,000 BMW X3s last year. But this time, the 03 is more advanced. It's not just loading sheet metal, it's tackling sequencing, sorting unordered parts, pulling loaded carts using whole body AI control from their Helix O2 system. Sayonara, human workers. Take a look at this. I don't know if they have a...
AI's newest humanoid, now on the floor at BMW's Spartanburg plant. It's picking up where Figure 02 left off, after that robot helped build over 30,000 BMW X3s last year in the body shop. But Figure 3 isn't repeating that job. It's tackling something much messier: sequencing. Parts arrive unsorted in random orientations. Figure 3 has to see them, sort them, and load them into a trolley in the right order for the right car. Then it does something Figure 2 never did. It grabs the loaded cart and pulls it, balancing and stepping while still holding parts. It's powered by Helix 2, Figure's AI system that controls the robot's hands, arms, torso, and feet together in real time. Figure 3 also comes with softer, safer components, wireless charging, tactile hands with palm cameras, and even voice-to-voice communication. It's all happening in Hall 52, the same hall being upgraded to build BMW's next electric SUV, the iX5. Figure AI's CEO says this proves humanoids aren't lab experiments anymore. They're becoming real factory workers.
Yeah, becoming real factory workers. And what does that mean?
Figure AI
means-
humanoids have returned to the BMW factory floor.
I'll tell you what that means. That means human workers are out of a job because these things are getting better and better and better. Let's go to the Pokemon store. Big Brother is watching you at the Pokemon store. They're using facial recognition to make sure you only enter once a day. This is happening in Japan, where there are 5 pop-up Pokemon card store locations. It's happening from July 31st to August 6th. And they said this: customers of elementary school age or older will be required to undergo a facial recognition scan before they can get into the store. And they are doing this to ensure each customer only enters the store once per day. Anyone attempting a re-entry will be turned away at the door. They say if you need to leave the store temporarily to use the restroom, you have to tell a staff member before you leave. And if you leave the store without staff guidance or confirmation, you will not be allowed to re-enter. They want to provide a safe, secure shopping environment for all customers. They want to prevent crime, and they are trying to ensure compliance with appropriate entry and purchase rules. They're afraid people are going to come in and buy a bunch of these things and try to resell them online. Scalpers, Pokemon scalpers. Apparently, scalping has been a major issue in the Pokemon community. I'd like to apologize to the Pokemon community. The resellers buy up a large amount of these limited release cards and merchandise, and then they mark them up and they sell them for big bucks on the internet. The company said facial recognition data will be stored for an unspecified amount of time before being deleted. So when I saw this story first, I was like, really? You want to have your face scanned just so you can buy a Pokemon card, and they're doing it to children? And this bothers me. But then I realized everybody has to have their face scanned to enter Disneyland. Kids, adults, doesn't matter. Same kind of thing, right? With Disneyland, I don't know what they do with that data after it's done, and I don't know what the Pokemon people will do with their facial recognition data when it's done. But everyone still goes to Disneyland, right? Many people do. So, yeah. I guess the Pokemon people are not the only ones. Glenn says jobs for humans, bots don't pay taxes. No, I guess you'd have to say it would have to be worth it with the cost of the robots and the alleviated cost of labor regarding the robot story, so that the cost is more beneficial than, I guess, to the company than taxes. But yeah, think about what happens to governments or, regions that need tax funds like that. Maybe companies pay up. This is why we're going to have to tax companies more. Dare I sound like a communist? I don't know. I agree. Oh, regarding kangaroos, Glenn also says the big red kangaroos are really fast and they don't get tired from high speed. Emus are the fastest, though. There's also a missing emu on the run as well. Yeah. Less taxpayers, he says, less money for the government. Yeah, I hear you. A lot of grocery stores in my area have facial recognition nowadays too. I guess that John Watson would be because people are ripping off stores more often. I don't know. I mean, I would probably crime prevention, right? We've truly hit the Big Brother territory. At least that's how it feels. Okay, I have a SpaceX story that I want to do before we go away traveling. And you know the AI data centers that everyone's really concerned about? Well, SpaceX plans to launch 1 million data center satellites. And the worry that scientists have is that it could turn the atmosphere into what they call a fire pit. SpaceX and Elon Musk and crew want to put a network of data centers into orbit, but there are some serious environmental risks when you think about doing this. The astronomers are worried that the data center satellites could interfere with observations by ground-based telescopes because these things, I mean, they light up the sky. This is not a good idea. I don't know what's going to happen with this. We'll see. We'll see. It sometimes feels like Elon Musk has too many avenues to do what he wants to do. Because even if stopped in the United States, which is not likely, he has these relationships now with people around the world. And I feel like there's really, outer space is the wild, wild west. The regulations seem to be not stringent enough, maybe, for these private companies who are like, well, we're just going to do what we want to do. I have this interesting story. If you have eye issues, or if you have, you wear glasses, or maybe you wear contacts, there's been a breakthrough process. They can now 3D print contact lenses in 20 minutes. And that means they can customize it and personalize it to the shape of your eyeball. Yep, I know. How cool is this? This new method could create soft contacts for people with irregular cornea shapes. You won't have to go to the eye doctor several times to get it fitted and get it right. It's advanced 3D printing technology. Wes could do it for you. Don't worry about it. You just call Wes and tell him you need some contacts. I'm joking. The breakthrough could help patients with irregularly shaped corneas get personalized lenses with greater speed and affordability. So most people that wear contacts have to be fitted for them with soft lenses by an optometrist. They match the measurement of the eye to a selection of standardized sizes and shapes. But if you have an irregular shape, then you have to get these custom hard lenses. The lenses are said to provide better vision correction and support corneal health, but they're expensive and time-consuming to make. And so there's a new study that has been published in the journal Materials and Design that looks into this digital manufacturing platform that could expand the possibilities for patient-specific lens design. A study co-author, a material chemist at the University of Waterloo in Canada, says we are very excited about this work. It brings us closer to contact lenses that are truly personalized. The technology produces lenses with a patient-specific surface for a precise fit while delivering optical clarity and mechanical performance expected of commercial contact lenses. So it would be a perfect match. The issue was, even though they say they can do it in about 20 minutes, so they say that with the speed, the lenses could be prescribed and manufactured during a single visit to the eye doctor. But they said silicone is not compatible with 3D printing. And so they had to develop this custom material. It's a hydrophilic silicone formation, and it can be printed layer by layer while it retains properties needed for contact lens application. A research chemist says the software designs a lens with an inner surface that precisely matches the patient's cornea and an outer surface that provides the required vision correction. The novel hydrophilic silicone material created, combined with the manufacturing process, produces smooth, transparent lenses that are comfortable to wear. They build it one layer at a time. So interesting. So, one of the goals they also had was to reduce the cost of hard lenses. They can cost $500 to $1,500, and this they think will definitely decrease that price with contacts that are made just for you. What they don't say is when this will be commercially available, but it's coming soon to a theater near you. So now we wait for the personalized contacts, and we wait for the story we did about the material they can now put back into your joints. This kind of synthetic cartilage that's better than a cortisone shot that's supposed to stay and replace any, lost padding in between your joints. I want that to become available. Oh, and remember when we talked about the keratin toothpaste that's supposed to be so much better for your teeth? I keep looking that up too. I want to know when all these things are coming out. These things that will make our lives better. Before we go traveling, let's do the lotto of the day. This guy from Ohio, he won 2 big lottery prizes in 1 week. First, he won $40,000 a year for 25 years. He won it from a scratch-off lottery ticket. And then later the same week, he ends up winning a $25,000 prize. He's from Toledo, said he bought his first $50 millionaire blowout ticket from Mike's Corner Store in Toledo and was shocked when he scratched off a prize of 40 grand a year for 25 years. The total on that is it's a $1 million win. So he decides to take his winnings as a lump sum payment of $500,000. He took home after taxes $366,000. And the big prize left him feeling a little lucky. So he went in and bought another ticket. Later the same week, boom, $25,000 prize. After taxes, that one's worth $18,312. He says his winnings will allow him to extend his upcoming vacation, to buy a new car, and to share with his kids, and to boost his savings. He's got it all going on. Imagine winning twice in 1 week. Sometimes I think luck is definitely on some people's sides, I mean, don't you think? Something more, is it random? Or is something more afoot there? I don't know. All right, are you guys ready to go traveling? Because I'm ready to take you traveling. Our travel destination this week is Philandia, Colombia. Ever heard of it? It's called one of the most underrated travel locales. Beautiful, but not many people go. Philandia, not Finlandia, Philandia, Filandia, a hidden gem in Quindio. It's in Colombia, one of those destinations that not on a lot of people's radar. Quieter, more authentic atmosphere. So, I'm at vickyviaja.com looking at the best things to do in Philandia, Quindío, Colombia. They say it's easy to reach Philandia from Salento, and the first things to do, one of the best things to do, is to check out the main square, and that is called Parque Bolivar. Parque Bolivar. And it's beautiful and it's picturesque. And there it is, Parque Boulevard. It's the main square of this small town. There are restaurants here, there's greenery, almost always locals out enjoying the atmosphere on one of the benches. It's surrounded by several colonial, colorful houses, which are a beautiful contrast to all the greenery. And right on the square, you can see it here, is one of the churches to go see. It's called the Iglesia de Maria Immaculada. And it sure is pretty. Here's a closer look at that church. A little close-up of it. This is the Church of Philandia, and they say it stands out from the colorful buildings not only because of its white color, its impressive size invites you to come a little closer. You can look inside, but the church, they say, is much more impressive from the outside than the inside. There are official opening hours, but they're not always maintained. They say if the church is closed during your visit, that's okay. You just got to try again later. There's some very beautiful, picturesque streets. One of them is called La Calle de Tiempo Detenido, the street of stopped time. And it really looks like a street of stopped time. I have a picture of it. I think I have a picture of it. Here's, by the way, some of the colorful houses around the square. Interesting architecture. I thought I had that picture. I don't know if this is the street of stop time, but this is one of the streets in this area. But La Calle de Tiempo Detenido, the street of stop time, is also called Calle number 7. The street connects the main square, Parque Boulevard, with the Mirador del Tiempo Detenido viewpoint. You can walk along the street and look at the beautiful colonial architecture. Oh, I think this was the picture of the street of stop time. That's what it is. And you can look at this beautiful architecture. You can stop for a coffee at one of the bakeries and beautiful snacks. Here's one of the lookout points that you'll see along this area. It's called Mirador del Tiempo Detenido. At the very end of the street, you come across this viewpoint with the same name. And there's stunning greenery surrounding Philandia. I keep wanting to say Finlandia. Philandia. Just really, really beautiful. And here's what it looks like from the top of the street at this gorgeous viewpoint. Green and lush. Really pretty. El Mirador Colina Iluminada. This one's right alongside the colorful city center. And they say this could arguably be the main attraction of Philandia. There's an entrance fee, which is about a couple bucks. And it leads you through a pretty park to a viewing tower. And on your way up, you have the opportunity to enjoy a small snack, maybe grab some coffee, and here's what you will see. It's a 27-meter high wooden structure with a beautiful view of Philandia and the surrounding nature. It's 8 stories high, and on each floor, there's some interesting information about the place and the landmarks that you can see from that vantage point. They say make sure you take enough time during your visit to walk up, to appreciate the natural surroundings. The observation tower is a short walk, around 15 minutes, outside the city, and then you pass some souvenir and craft stores on your way there as well. One of the things we're going to have to do in Philandia is go check out the regional coffee. Later, we'll visit a farm, but we have to go get some regional coffee and see how it compares to our friends at Coachella Valley Coffee. Eje Cafeterio, Colombia's premier coffee growing region. This is where the coffee plants thrive in the lush greenery. And so trying their exquisite coffee is a must do. They say you'll be spoiled for choice with various cafes and restaurants, especially along the Calle de Tiempo Detenido, the street of stop time, where they serve up the rich, full bodied coffee from this region. The selection of coffee is impressive. They have a cute bird design on the cups at Quindio Cafe, which adds a little touch to the experience. And since we've stopped for coffee, perhaps we should stop for lunch, because apparently one of the best restaurants in town is named for this woman. This is the Helena Adentro restaurant. Everyone in town recommends it. The views from this restaurant are incredible. The dishes served creative, kind of like Spanish tapas. So the sizes are a little smaller, and the prices are a little higher compared to regular Colombian standards, but it's not so bad. It gets really packed in this restaurant, so you should reserve a table in advance, maybe the minute you arrive in Philandia, to ensure you get a table. This place, everyone wants to go here. Wonderful. And something different as well. All right. I think we're fed and rested, so off we go to visit the coffee farm. See how they do things in Philandia. There's something fascinating about seeing a spot where your coffee is grown and harvested, and the opportunity to taste coffee at its very freshest is an experience like no other. Finca Tematica La Divisa stands out, this coffee farm. There's another one near Salento that's good, but this one is the one recommended near Philandia. There's a really pretty waterfall in this area as well. So after we check out the coffee farm, let's go check out the Dobles Cascada, which is a twin waterfall in this area. Super pretty. Little hike, but this double waterfall, it's about an hour and a half hike from the center of Philandia. You get to see beautiful nature and the vibrant green colors. Gorgeous. All right, you ready to check it out? I'm ready to check it out. How about then a little trip to go seeing as we're loving the hike, this hiking in the Corcora Valley. Look at how green and beautiful this is. Amazing. They have times where this area is open for people, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Costs a couple bucks to get in. But there are these palm trees that touch the sky, looks like it. Hiking trails leading you through breathtaking landscapes. The Valle de Corcora is not far from Philandia, right in the heart of Colombia's coffee region, Eje Cafetero. So in addition to these wax palms, which by the way are the tallest in the world, there are beautiful hiking trails. You can go on a short hike or a longer hike, 1.5 hours to 6 hours. Wonderful adventures. And that is Philandia. So just a little trip, just a little stop by to some beautiful places. And I don't know about you, but a place I'll probably never go to. But it's interesting to know that there it is in the world. Those buildings are so colorful and pretty. Look at all those views. That's a cool structure. I almost feel like we've been there with our cup of coffee in a bird cup. You imagine sitting at that table and looking out at that view? Gorgeous. That's Philandia, Colombia. And thus ends our Travel Tuesday. Our mind is opened. We're feeling a little more relaxed, all from the sanctity of our home. No danger involved at all. I hope you guys had a nice time. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you again for the contributions to this show, which doesn't happen without you. I just can't tell you how much I appreciate the help. Truly. That you keep this show going means the world. It really does. The most recent contributors to the show's PayPal page, which by the all the information is in the show description every day. So if you're looking for it, that's where it's located. Wes, huge thank you for your contribution today. You're so kind. Harold H, Jennifer L, Lee S, Susan D, the most recent contributors. Mahalo. Thank you so much for that. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you again to Glenn, who pops through with his couple Australian dollars. Really appreciate that. And the comment as well. All right, I'm going to the comment to see what you guys are talking about, what you have to say. Thanks for another wonderful show. See you tomorrow. We're all on this together. Absolutely, we are. Wonderful. I had a ceramic coffee pot that sat on the stove. Oh no, you broke your coffee pot? That's a bummer. I'm sorry. Man. All right. Well, make it the very best rest of your Tuesday. I will see you tomorrow on the Mark Thompson Show, where we have not only Jared Yates Sexton, who's so smart and so amazing, but we also have the president of the Federation of the Teachers Union. That'll be really interesting. So I hope you join us tomorrow at 11:30 a.m.-ish for the Mark Thompson Show. And then I'll see you here on the After Party Live, and we'll check out some waterfalls and take a little breather together. But until we meet again, make it the very best rest of your day. Bye, you guys.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.